Alright, so we finally got the first full cover story for Avatar 2, so I wanted to break it down, bit by bit, so let's dive right in. So Empire Magazine has been slowly teasing us with information in the days leading up to the release of this full cover story. So let's see if we learn anything new about the movie as we break it down. So the cover story starts with what we learned before, that the movie will clock in at around 3 hours. And this makes sense since James Cameron has mentioned before that they treated the shooting of Avatar 2 and 3 back to back as if it was a 6-hour long miniseries. We then get into the meaning of the Way of Water movie title, and they reveal it comes from his unfinished novelization of the first movie, in which he was going to have Neytiri possess the ethos of the Way of Air. By understanding how air, wind, and turbulence interact, by understanding what air does to a creature's wing membranes, she believes you can then fly more effectively. For the new film, he simply transposed the concept to water. It's a repeated motif, he says. The way of water is understanding the medium in which you operate. So that's interesting. It will actually be a form of being one with your environment and allowing you to perform better within that. We then get into the hesitation James Cameron had before committing to these sequels, but only under the understanding that they would agree for it to be a massive, multi-part saga and not just one movie at a time, which required over a year and a half of both writing 1,500 pages of notes detailing the world of Pandora, and then sitting down with other writers for 5 months and completely mapping out the entire story for these upcoming movies. Next, we get into James Cameron's decision to give his main characters an entire family and making it an epic family saga. I look around, I don't want to specifically say the Marvel Universe or the DC Universe. I look at current fantasy and science fiction, and all these heroes seem unbound in the mire of relationships. The stuff that pulls you down and clips your wings, that stops you running around and risking your life. I thought, what if I take these incredible characters of Jake and Neytiri and give them a family? That gives them feet of clay right there. And he talks about them raising their kids during a time of guerrilla warfare, but that there will also be conflict between the way they want to raise their kids. We learned that obviously the setting for this movie comes from his love of the sea. So with the Soli family being displaced from their home, they come to the Metcaina tribe, and this is what they say. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Jake's reputation as a war hero precedes him, but not necessarily for good. When he shows up in our neighborhood because of his history, we know the colonizers will most likely follow him, says Curtis. But we have a culture where we must be hospitable to those that show up at our doorstep. So it's not an easy situation at all. Even though the story was conceived years ago, for Zoe Saldana, the Soli's journey, becoming immigrants, strangers among these reef people, conjures up eerie contemporary resonance. It will be very relatable to how we see foreign policy. Nations are currently at war, and a big nation is being requested to take in refugees. I really feel the Metcaina are no different. They are going, who are these people? Can they make it work anywhere else? What do we stand to lose if we let them in? Living on atolls, the Metcaina tribe are super swimmers. They are adapted for the ocean. Their tails are thicker and their skin is shark-like in color. In realizing these Na'vi seals, Cameron tested shooting dry for wet, simulating underwater conditions by suspending actors on wires on a dry stage, and compared it against performance capture carried out underwater. It was just so compellingly clear it could only be done in water, he says. Besides, the movie is called The Way of Water. It's not called The Way of Dry for Wet. This is the film's real technological breakthrough, sub-aqua performance capture, taking the process out of a gray volume and into a 900,000 gallon tank, replete with a wave maker to replicate the ocean's currents. We could not let the light from above go directly into the water, or it would take away from our ability to capture. We couldn't put a canvas across the tank because it wouldn't be safe. So we put hundreds of small white polymer balls on the water that would diffuse the light, but still allowed the actors to come up for breath. And out of all the actors that learned to hold their breath underwater, we do know that the biggest record was held by Kate Winslet at 7 minutes and 14 seconds. Next, we get information that it is indeed the RDA that's coming back to take back the prized possession that they lost. The RDA returned with not only new hardware, but also an entire city, Bridgehead, built near the coastline, perfectly placed to plunder the ocean's riches. In a typically Cameron-esque twist, rather than bringing a gigantic payload from Earth to Pandora, they have constructed a massive 3D printing facility that prints out tech and weaponry to huge effect. This is RDA scale. But the RDA is also coming back with Miles Quaritch. He died at the end of the first one, but in the interim, the RDA have advanced technology so the memories of their best soldiers can be embedded into genetically autonomous avatars, known as recoms, short for recombatants. Hence, Quaritch is back, this time in Na'vi form, but he still has the eagle tattoo on his shoulder to mark where his RDA loyalties lie. When it comes to Stephen Lang and a routine, we'd basically start the day by punching the heck out of each other and just enjoyed the hell out of it, says Cameron. He's not a guy that knows how to pull a punch, so after getting bagged a few times, I thought, alright, it's on. I said, it doesn't matter if you got a big old shiner or a fat lip, because it's performance capture. Every insurance company in the world would shit themselves if they thought the director was punching the star in the face every day. And of course, it doesn't matter as a director if you get a fat lip, so it's all good. We then get into the biggest battle the movie will face, both the time it has taken for it to release and getting the audience back to see it. Part of that will be with the re-release of the first Avatar movie in September, because if this movie sinks, it'll also bring down the entire saga. Cameron lets us know that everything he would like to express as an artist and what he cares about can be expressed through these movies, like the themes of family, climate, sustainability, and the natural world. We then do get told that he might not be the director in charge of movies 4 and 5, but that he doesn't know yet. At least we know the stories won't change because the scripts to all 4 sequels have been finalized since before the second one began shooting in 2017. At the moment though, Cameron is all about Avatar. With COVID adding delays, he is racing against time to complete the performance capture for later installments before his young cast age out. There's a big time jump in the story that takes place in the first act of movie 4, he says. As for how the saga develops, he says, it has magnificent scope, it gets very dark and tragic. There are serious consequences. You're asked to invest in an idea of hope for everybody, hope for the Na'vi, and hope for the humans. That to me is the big ethical and moral shift. It's a story about hope. Let's hope it all comes to pass. If anyone can change the game twice, it's Cameron. Few filmmakers understand the way of water, the medium in which he operates, better. As such, you'd be a scound to bet against him. So there we have it, guys. That was the complete breakdown of everything revealed in this cover story. A lot we found out about as they teased information throughout the week, but it's great to get even a little bit more information. It's just such a great time to be an Avatar fan, and it's only going to get more exciting. Usually these cover stories come out shortly before a new trailer does, since they mostly use images that will be in that upcoming trailer. So we will have so much new content coming soon, as well as a lot of merchandise. So this is just the beginning. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video.